Set 10, ¿Se viene set 10? ¿O qué es esto?
Hey, tacticians. Hey, tacticians. Hey, everybody.
Eso es como un resumen del anterior set, creo, ¿no?
Y cuando acabe el resumen sale lo otro, imagino, ¿no?
Set after set after set after set.
Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Whitrock, design lead for our newest set, which I'm excited to introduce today. We're calling this set, drumroll please, Remix Rumble. We've got a full playlist today, so I'll open with gameplay.
O sea, el set se llama Remix Rumble. Rumble en el
¿Eso que
nombre.
está de fondo es el mapa?
Puede ser, ¿eh?
A ver, parece el carrusel, parece el carrusel.
A behind the scenes look at how different parts of Remix Rumble came together. All right, let's jump right into the bands. And by bands, I mean traits. In Remix Rumble, you're the DJ, and the board is your turntable. By combining different traits, you'll create a medley of beats and genres. Let's start with familiar chart toppers, beginning with the ultimate pop stars,
Evelyn, Kaisa, Ari.
KDA.
The entire lobby bumping with KDA and their most dedicated superfans. Position them just so, and you'll find yourself at the performance of a lifetime.
¿Estáis entendiendo lo que dice? Básicamente está diciendo que creáis música.
Sí, sí,
Este set va todo alrededor de la música. Y tú creas música al poner fichas en el tablero. Si pones fichas de KDA, la música que va a sonar es KDA.
And both stay true to their names.
What the fuck?
True damage grants extra
Y si juegas muteado, ¿qué pasa?
Wait, that can't be right. This is more like it. True damage members are all about
Esos son los de True Damage. Si metes gente de True Damage, suena música de True Damage.
As you itemize them. Oh, and before you ask, Akali will be able to be played in KDA or True Damage. Her trait will change based on whichever band is trending at the time. All right, metalheads, Pentakill's up next. Pentakill members have damage reduction and bonus damage that increases as they score kills. And if your team manages to get a pentakill, then their bonuses will increase again.
Pentakill, que es más música rollo rock, ¿no?
Yorick's mosh pit.
Sí, es rollo metal, sí.
Then there's Heartsteel, fresh off their debut and already making their mark on the convergence. These guys are ready to bring the energy.
Y Heartsteel no sé qué estilo de música será.
They may have started out underground, but they're
como
able
hardstyle, ¿no?
to take you to the top of the charts and the lobby if you can conquer their risky style. But we can't put on a proper remix rumble with only 4 bands. We also have some all-new groups entering the convergence. With original TFT looks, Lulu and Ziggs make up the jittery, ridiculous, hyperpop duo Glitter Bomb. Speaking of original TFT skins, Remix Rumble has plenty. There's a whole new class, super
La Ari vaya pepazo pega, es como una hostia, es como un taunt pero que pega. Pum, es el taunt pero one-shoteando.
By turning one or more of their items into radiant items.
También te digo, 2 radiantes.
My personal favorite new look is Bard, who has joined the jazz trio Freeflow.
Jazz Bard,
are looking as smooth as they sound. Before I get into the mechanics, let's head backstage to learn more about how we made some of these traits with Alex Cole and one of our lesser-known devs.
We knew set 10 was going to be our big music set. So when we think back of kind of like what the steps were, we knew we were going to have this big music moment. We were celebrating 10 sets of TFT, which was going to be huge. And really, we just kind of leaned right in and we were like, cool, we know we're going to do all of these cool origins. And then we go through the process of what skin lines do we have available that we can tie those to. And luckily, we had a ton of cool and groovy skin lines. And we played with them a little bit with like Space Group becoming disco and some stuff like that. But yeah, we were pretty quick to just turn right in and be like, oh, wow, we have tons of things to pull from, which is really exciting.
So I'm pretty excited about Heartsteel. The economy trait is always a fan favorite of ours.
Heartsteel es la nueva sinergia de dinero.
The economy trait is you get it at 2-1 or you don't really play it. And so this time we took a very clear goal of how do you play it if you don't hit it at 2-1? And so what you can do is you can play it at any point in the game, and the more you've got, the bigger the payout. You try to lose by just a little bit, but even if you win, you're still going to be getting those fan, and then it's going to cash out after a few turns. And so you can even pivot into it in the late game, and I think that's going to be a real skill expressive part of the game. Is that
está diciendo básicamente que quieren que los hardstyle no sean como los piltovers de que o los tienes en la 2-1 muy pronto o no los metes, sino que quieren que sea una sinergia de economía, pero que la puedas meter incluso en mid y late game.
My favorite trait this set is definitely the country trait, which features our Desperado band. Historically in TFT, we've done a lot of really cool things with summon traits. We did Baron this last set, we did Innovator in set 6, and I'm really excited for Country to join those ranks. So with Country, we have something called the Midnight Horse, which is Hecarim, and when your champions sort of get lower or lose health, Hecarim will ride in and save the day. So operating a little bit like Galio from set 4, if players remember that one. So I think the challenges with these two is we kept trying to find the identity for each of them, and they ended up being really intertwined with each other. So there was a day where myself, Whitrock, the set lead, and Mort literally sat down and mapped out the entire set on a whiteboard. I don't remember who it was, but one of us was just like, oh, we don't have a summon trait. And we kind of played around with that. And on the flip side, we were also playing around with, like, is it risky to have our econ trait be one of the main verticals? Like, is that something we want to do or try? Which is really exciting. And we ended up going with it and kind of seeing those two traits in particular, like, kind of kept going back and forth and changing shape with each other. But we were happy with how it all landed. Yeah, I would say it's pretty clear on this team that I'm probably the biggest Ahri stan around, so KDA being in the set is a huge, exciting moment for me.
¿Y la mecánica que vuelven a hacer los carruseles?
When deciding which mechanics to include in Remix Rumble, we wanted to bring you a greatest hits playlist from past sets, starting with Runeterra Reforged. Portals are making a comeback. They'll have a bit less impact than some of the wilder ones from last set. We can do without you, Stillwater Hold, but they're sure to continue creating memorable moments. We won't be bringing back Legends for Remix Rumble.
Leyendas se van a la mierda, chicos.
How Legends could influence the meta and individual enjoyment of the set, so we feel like there's more exploration and experimentation to be done in this space before we potentially revisit it. But we'll keep you updated along the way.
Se plantean traerlas en un futuro por eso, pero de momento leyendas RIP.
One of TFT's most beloved mechanics is returning in an updated way. No, not augments, although we will be
Esto a mí me raya un poco, lo que van a anunciar ahora. Atentos.
I'm talking about headliners, our fresh take on the chosen mechanic from Fates.
Vuelven los
Headliners
chosens.
are the star of your board. They appear occasionally in shops and are purchased at 2 stars. Headliners have tons of immediate power, and they give you +1 to one of their traits. But here's where headliners diverge
¿Cómo era
from
esto?
chosen.
Que yo no lo jugué.
Each one will have a specific headliner effect that empowers them in a way that only a true fan.
Básicamente es como te dan la ficha 2 estrellas del tirón.
Y es más potente, ¿no?
Y es más fuerte. Cada uno tiene una forma específica de ser más fuerte en este caso. O sea, es como si fuesen Ionias, ¿sabes? Que tienen el bufo de Ionias. Pues esto es lo que van a tener en este set. En el set anterior no tenían el bufo este. Eran un poco más fuertes, pero no tenían un bufo específico para ellos como tal, creo.
Claro, eran...
Y lo que han cambiado... Lo que cambian es que aunque tú tengas, que esto me parece bien, aunque tú tengas ya un Chosen, te pueden seguir saliendo Chosens. Cada 4 tiendas o cada 3 tiendas siempre te va a salir un Chosen, aunque ya tengas un Chosen. Entonces, eso lo cambia bastante, porque antes tenías que venderte tu Chosen para encontrar otro. Ahora, aún teniendo Chosen, pueden salirte más.
Let's check back in with Alex and Mort to talk more.
Pero no puedes tener 2 en mesa, ¿no? Supongo.
No.
No puedes comprar otro hasta que no.
So early on, when we were exploring the different mechanics, we knew we were doing a music theme, and so we kind of had this image where it's like, okay, the band is all on there together, but what is it that makes it special? How can we twist it? And we kept coming back to it's like, well, who's singing at the moment? Who's the star of the show, if you will? And that kind of led us to a system we call Headliner, which was like, okay, you're going to pick who your headliner is. And we kept coming up with versions that were slightly different than Chosen, but had a lot of the same advantages. Chosen was one of our first big mechanics that wasn't just like galaxies or a variation. And it was something that allowed every champion to kind of be the centerpiece, right? Like you would tell stories of, oh, this was the game I got Silas chosen and I did this thing, or this was the game I got Kennen chosen. But what was interesting is as we were kind of researching it, we realized that was before a lot of these other mechanics, right? Augments hadn't been around. And so a lot of the burden of the system has changed. And so as we were looking at this and kind of seeing all the pieces come together, it felt like kind of a greatest hits of TFT, which once we realized that was such a great opportunity to bring it all together. And so that's when we kind of anchored on Headliner being sort of the upgraded chosen. You know, we've got Radiant items, augments, portals, and it really does sort of feel like 10 sets worth of TFT knowledge all coming together to make this really awesome set.
I think with the Headliner mechanic, players will be most excited about the champ fantasies that it unlocks. So whether you are a player that really loves re-rolling those 1 or 2 costs, or you're a player that likes those 4 cost carry fantasies, Headliner allows you to do any direction you want every game, and unlocks a lot of variation, which is exciting. These are things that we never predict coming in, like what is the built different comp of this set? Like what are the combinations that we during production have no idea are coming, that we see videos of at 2 a.m. From China, and we're like, wow, that's amazing, I can't believe they came up with this idea.
Those
hey, 550 de oro al 9, oye.
And have an exciting payoff. I think it's always what we're looking for when we're making new sets. It's like, what is the cool next thing to try out?
Y esto que van a contar ahora, esto es muy loco, atentos.
Hey everyone, I'm Cole Hicks, lead composer of Remix Rumble, and I'm here to talk about the heart of this set, the music. In Remix Rumble, each trait brings new sounds to your board. While you're building your team, you're building your track. Remix Rumble was an all-hands-on-deck moment for our team. Many different composers and collaborators created original music for each origin trait, and made it possible for all of it to meld together in any combination based on whichever units you have out on your board. To make genres like metal sound seamless with, say, jazz or pop, we wrote 2 main songs. Through a mix of layers that contain drums, chords, and melodies, your track will be built alongside your team. And as the game progresses, your track will too. Starting off one way during the preparation phase, and building up to a more complex chorus for the battle. Let me show you an example of how all this will look and sound, starting with our disco band, the Disconauts. Their trait gives you a placeable disco ball that will heal your allies and grant them attack speed. As you get later into the game, you can add in more Disconauts to strengthen the trait. Then you could add in a destructive splash of pentakill for a killer guitar solo, soaring over it all.
Es loco
Let's
eso,
talk a bit about the tracks we wrote. For groups like KDA and Pentakill that already exist in the League IP, we tried to capture their instrumental essence with some TFT twists. And we brought in new genres like 8-bit and country, but more on those later. We also made sure powerful units like Jin got their moment in the spotlight. For Maestro, Jin's legendary trait, we mixed in
La legendaria de Jin es loca, tiene una mecánica que no hemos visto nunca. Ahora veréis.
Classical music, fit for the virtuoso himself. This sound was the perfect fit for a trait that deals extra damage to tactician health and a champion whose ability builds up in a cadenza of damage. By putting out different units on your board, you'll create a symphony of controlled chaos.
Se acabó jugar al TFT con música, gente. Voy a jugar al TFT con la música del juego.
Heavy emo band, Big Sad. Or maybe as your comp changes, you'll create music that features the bass of true damage alongside the groovy horn section of Disconauts. It's absolutely ridiculous, and that's just TFT. All right, let's head backstage with the team for a quick recording session.
O sea, depende de lo que pongas, cambia todo, ¿sabes?
Qué fumada.
Entonces, si metes
Vale.
3...
No lo acabo de entender del todo.
O sea, si tú juegas full KDA, solo va a sonar música KDA. Pero si tú metes KDA y metes uno de jazz y uno de pentakill, pues la música que te va a sonar va a ser principalmente KDA, pero con un poquito de jazz y un poquito de pentakill. Y tienen todas las versiones hechas dependiendo de la mesa que pongas, que tengas, las sinergias que tengas activas, sonará una música u otra, ¿sabes?
En orden. Hay como 3 prioridades. Es como primero esto, después esto y después esto. Primero esto,
Claro, pero eso no cambia el playstyle, ¿no? O sea, solo la música. Pero he escuchado que decía que el Jin puede hacer daño a tu bicho, a tu
Sí.
leyenda?
Lo del gym no han enseñado ni han dicho nada. Solo han dicho que tiene música propia.
Y ha dicho que puede pegar
ha
a.
dicho
Que hace
puede
daño
pegar a
extra a la
mini-
mini leyenda. Sí.
Hace daño extra a la mini leyenda. Sí.
No sé cómo funciona lo del gym, pero ya lo explicarán. Pero sí, hace daño extra a la mini leyenda
vale,
del gym.
lo han contado.
Sí, sí. Bueno, a ver, yo es lo que he entendido.
Genres, and some of them have a fair amount of crossover as far as types of sounds and things that we're using. For example, we're doing a DJ Sona genre.
Lo de la música yo creo que está guapo. Y a los que no os mole, simplemente pues jugáis sin música y os la pela, ¿sabes qué quiero decir? Yo creo que tiene un curro grande y creo que a mucha gente le va a molar, ¿eh? A mucha gente que más... Es algo más para la gente casual. Yo creo que para la peña muy tryhard, yo creo que probablemente a la gente muy tryhard se la pele. Pero para gente casual que se echa un par de partidas creo que puede estar muy guapo, tío.
El torneo lo vas a quitar seguramente.
La gente tryhard acabará escuchando siempre la misma música y que acabará hasta los cojones.
El trade que esté roto, ¿no?
Sí, al final
Pero
no
a
es una
veces esa
mecánica
música te
de-
gusta.
del-
Claro, no es una mecánica de juego, exacto.
Claro, eso lo por
añadido,
diversión o
se
por...
usará para
Está
más.
bien.
KDA is another
Pero bueno, sí
example
está
of,
bien.
like, it's not just what are the things that make
Yo
it
lo veo
sound
muy
like
bien que
KDA,
inviertan en eso
it's
porque
what are the
son
things that make it
detallitos,
sound
tío,
like
que al
KDA
final
if
hacen
just the drums
la
are
diferencia.
playing, or if just
Y
the
si está
chords are
currado,
playing.
puede estar muy guapo.
Yo creo que la música es una parte importante de los videojuegos, brother. Yo escucho de golpe la música de los juegos a los que jugaba de pequeño. Yo, por ejemplo, yo que sé, la música del RuneScape, la típica, y te juro que me flipa, tío. Me trae sentimientos solo esa música. La música del WoW también me trae sentimientos. La música es muy importante. Entonces, esto creo que de verdad, no sé cuánto de bien estará hecho, porque es que tampoco sabemos mucho. Pero creo que esto de verdad puede estar muy guapo, ¿eh? Y puede ser algo que te cree recuerdos, ¿sabes? Porque es raro de explicar, pero es como que la música la recuerdas más que a veces ciertas cosas. Pero claro, lo importante será que el TFT esté guapo, que no tenga 1000 bugs, que esté bien hecho el juego, que esté balanceado, etc. O sea, eso es algo secundario, pero de verdad creo que puede ser positivo esto.
Write what we believe in, and then we come together and let's hear how this is gonna go.
TFT is the space where, as a composer, I get to play around the most and, you know, basically try whatever fun ideas I might have. The team is very open to experimentation. So from that perspective, even though it is a fair amount different than anything we've done in TFT before, I think TFT is the perfect place to do it. And I think the players of TFT are also really on board with these kinds of fun ideas.
100%.
Hi everyone, I'm Ananda Gupta, Design Director on TFT. Today, I'm here to give an update on cosmetics, and then I'll talk about Ranked, as well as a much anticipated release for many of our players, the Asia Pacific mobile launch. We're thrilled to bring more high-quality personalization that will be released throughout the start of Remix Rumble. Ahead of that, we want to give you a sneak peek and equip you with an understanding of the release schedule, both to prepare collectors as well as inform folks who want to nab their favorite. Chibi Set and Chibi Heartsteel Set have entered the building, and they're looking to pull off a heist straight to the top of the lobby. Chibi Heartsteel Set moves fast and will depart the treasure realms after the first 2 weeks of Remix Rumble.
Está guapo, la verdad, pero que no me cobren 200 euros por ese puto muñeco, cabrón.
Smack dab in the middle of a KDA show and take top 4.
Es que...
It won't matter with an arena this stunning. After 2 weeks, Chibi KDA Akali will screech onto the scene. Then, the moment I've been waiting for, KDA Kaisa will hit the convergence 3 weeks into the set. She and KDA Akali will be
¿Cuántos chibis tiene la Kaisa ya? Ya tenía dos, ¿no?
until our next event.
Sí, este es otro.
Each drop will provide high-value content from
Vamos,
chibis
que
to
Kaisa
mythic
es
little
la
legends,
luz
and even a chance to hit a random chibi variant, like Dragonmancer Ash or Star Guardian Lux.
De hecho, Timo no tiene nada, es raro.
Collector capsules is KDA Kaisa.
¿Cómo?
Kaisa is the centerpiece for players looking to flaunt
Ah, es verdad, sí, sí, sí.
But prestige treasure realms are full of high-value offerings from past sets. So, whether you're a collector looking to pick up something you missed, or a little legend enthusiast just getting your first chibi, no matter what you hit, it's bound to hit hard. After Remix Rumble ships, we've got even more work ahead of us. We know players want more say in what they purchase, and we're working towards exactly that in a system we're internally calling the Seasonal Store. We're not quite ready to go into the finer details yet, but I am ready to get into Remix Rumble's pass. Remix Rumble marks our transition to 3 sets a year, and we're updating our pass structure to reflect that. We'll still have 2 passes in every set, but since sets now last 4 months, each pass will be 2 months long. So we're redistributing rewards and accelerating pass progression to make all the rewards easier to obtain. Not every pass will look the same. Each Pass Plus will have different high-value rewards. For example, you'll see our new Neon Stage Arena in Remix Rumble's first pass, and in the Rumble's second half, Sugar Cone Poro. And just as our pass is changing to accommodate 3 sets a year, our ranked season is also changing.
Ojo.
Like League of Legends, we're adding Emerald tier to our ranked ladder. It'll add more climbing room, while also recognizing the skill progression that players show between Platinum and Diamond. This comes at the perfect time as we transition to creating 3 sets a year and 3 ranked seasons to go with them. Without mid-sets, there's no soft reset of your rank throughout the season, so you'll have more time to track your progress in the expanded ladder, prove your skill, and get new Emerald rewards. We're not looking to make the climb harder. Emerald and a longer season should mean a smoother, more consistent climb overall. We know TFT is a more chaotic game than League, and we don't want to punish or reward you too much for performance outliers. You can play great and still low roll in TFT, and our ranked system should and will reflect that. Okay, before you get too excited and queue up for ranked, let's chat mobile. The launch of Remix Rumble in late November will be the first time TFT is available on mobile in APAC regions, and we're shipping a number of improvements along with this launch that will impact the entire world. But first, I want to thank our APAC players for their patience. We've been working towards bringing mobile to you since we launched it during Galaxies, and we know that you've awaited its arrival ever since. In preparation for this launch, our Tools and Engine team has been hard at work making mobile usability, stability, and performance improvements. And for the tablet players out there, one of these improvements is tablet support. Come Remix Rumble, you can say goodbye to the black bars and wonky scaling when playing on tablet, and hello to a
O sea, mejoran todo el tema móvil y tablet, pero yo pensaba que copiaban la app china, no como que mejoraban la suya.
And tablet support across the world. And we can't wait to kick it all off with Remix Rumble. So, APAC players, make sure to pre-register for our launch, as we'll be offering multiple pre-registration milestone rewards, from treasure tokens to a new little legend, Boba T-River Sprite. And if you're not in APAC, don't worry, this little sprite will eventually be available to everyone.
Was that the last boba?
Yep.
Oh. Okay. Hey everyone, Sherman back to talk about all
Te hacen
things
reír
TFT.
de lo malos que son los cabrones, tío.
It's been awesome to see the growth of TFT esports over the last few sets. We've seen 3 sets of steady viewer growth for set championships, and with the Runeterra Reforged Championship, we're hoping to make it 4. We're about 5 weeks out from our first global LAN event, the TFT Vegas Open. It'll be from December 8th through the 10th, with 512 competitors from around the world as they take over the MGM Grand. I first want to say that we were blown away by how quickly competitor passes sold out back in September, and we can't wait to see you battle it out there. The event happens early in Remix Rumble, testing players' ability to adapt, innovate, and lead the meta. This is a moment where players from anywhere can step into the spotlight and become IRL headliners. The player that comes out on top will walk away with $100,000, a trophy, and most importantly, the TFT Vegas Open title. And even if you don't get first, the 128 players who make it to day 2 will win a piece of the $300,000 prize pool. And all 512 players who participate in the event will get a unique emote based on how far they make it into the tournament. But don't worry, the Vegas Open won't be a replacement for a championship. Now that we've switched over to 3 sets a year, we're adjusting to have a competitive season for each one. So rest assured there will be a Remix Rumble championship in the set.
Si no en España
It'll be the
solo
culmination
tendríamos
of Remix
3
Rumble,
representantes.
so we have high expectations for
Manute,
the top players
Snudi
bring
y
to the
Noob.
finals, now that they've had a chance to master the set.
Nope.
For those of you competing in Vegas, PvE goes live the second week of November. So get out there and start crafting your go-to comps. As for everyone else, we're super excited for our first ever LAN event, and we hope to see you all there, either in person
Ander
or
dijo que
digitally.
ibas.
All right, thanks so much
Ander
for
habla
watching.
mucho.
Good luck and have fun out there. Till next time.
Es que, gente, es que no estoy seguro de si puedo hablar o no puedo hablar. De momento dejémoslo en que lo estamos gestionando.
Se supone que no se puede streamear.
Ya, eso me han dicho. Quizá, si fuese, quizá lo streameo desde el móvil. Así.
To a very groovy stage because we're already mentally in the remix rumble. Life.
Bueno, pinta bien,
with,
¿no?
Of course, Mortdog and Froden. I don't think I need to introduce you guys.
Yo creo que va a estar guapo. La mecánica de los Chosens, la verdad, me da miedo. Me da bastante miedo, porque a mí el anterior set de los Chosens a mí me rayó en su momento.
Yo no lo jugué, yo ese no lo jugué. Bueno, lo jugué, pero...
Sí que es verdad que ahora es distinto, por lo que dicen, que hay aumentos, que tal, las cosas han cambiado. Pero a mí me rayó un poco la mecánica de los Chosens. Yo no fui muy fan de ella. También hay que decir que han aprendido, son 6 sets más tarde, habrá mejorado, confiamos, vamos a ver qué tal. A mí en su momento, yo no, lo que no voy a hacer aquí es mentir a la peña, porque yo lo he dicho 1000 veces, ¿sabes? La gente que me ha visto desde hace años lo sabe. Yo odié los Chosens, literalmente me hicieron dejar de jugar al TFT. Pero obviamente, vamos a ver qué tal ahora. Creo que el hecho de que puedas sacar Chosens mientras ya tienes Chosens es una buena cosa. Y sí que es verdad la parte que dice Mordot de que mola que te creas recuerdos únicos de la partida. Rollo, pues de golpe te dices, aquella partida que jugué Galio Chosen y hice no sé qué, aquella partida que hice, ¿sabes? Como que realmente puedes acabar jugando muchos estilos de juego distintos, ¿sabes? Que no es todo el rato de macias y todo el rato la misma compo. Que sí, claro, obviamente habrán un par de Chosens que serán los más fuertes, claro, pero te permite quizá mucho más theory crafting, entre comillas, ¿sabes? Alrededor de ciertos Chosens.
Y que no han hablado, pero que hay muchas más mejoras. Ya supongo que cuando toque hablarán más extensamente, pero hay muchas mejoras en la mecánica.
So it'll be very easy to like sort of play around and sort of go for specific headliners, make changes as you need. And then one of the interesting things is
yo creo que tiene que ser muy distinto de lo que fue el set 4, la verdad.
Imagino que en Tactic Tools te saldrán los win rates de los Chosen, ¿no?
Guau, pues no sé si es algo bueno, la verdad.
Eso va a ser una liada.
Es que es lo que metemos, ¿sabes? Que estén rotos 2 o 3 Chosens y todo el mundo busque eso.
A ver, te darán los win rates de los campeones y los Chosens, pues...
100% los Chosens estarán ahí. Los stats estarán. A ver, va a haber Chosens overpowered. Es lo que no me mola, que es rollo como los dragones a nivel de que... si la Kali Chosen KDA está súper rota y la sacas en el primer roleo al 7, te han regalado el top 4, ¿sabes? Instantáneamente tienes el top 3 hecho. Entonces, va a haber high roleadas así. Los Chosens te van a permitir high rolear muchísimo. Pero bueno, es lo que tiene el TFT. También te high roleas en el póker si sacas doble as, ¿sabes?
Yeah, so going into PBE, there are going to be some system changes. Bag sizes right now, I believe we're actually going to leave alone for starting for PBE to check it out. Okay. But there are also going to be some changes to the leveling system. For example, going to level 6, 7, and 8, and 9 will all actually be quite a bit cheaper.
Oh, give me a high five.
But they are slightly nerfed, and to compensate, level 10 is now a permanent feature of the game. And so if you want to hit those 3-star 5 costs, you've got to go to level 10 now. And so it will sort of change the dynamic.
Vale, esto cosas importante. Por un lado, que quiero contestar cosas del chat. Por un lado, como veis, todo el mundo ahora va a poder subir al nivel 10 y el tema de la experiencia es distinto. O sea, creo que cuesta menos subir al principio, al nivel 7, al nivel 8 y tal. Es distinto al nivel económico, ya lo analizaremos bien. Y luego lo que dices, no se supone que el set iba a ser diferente. Hombre, el set tiene sus cosas distintas y a nivel competitivo ya también es distinto. O sea, no ha habido ningún evento presencial en la historia de TFT y ahora ya hay un evento presencial que es en Las Vegas, de 100k para el primero, de como 300k o 200 y pico k en total para todos. Es el primer evento presencial de TFT de la historia. Si el primer evento presencial de TFT es en un evento random, porque sí, para anunciar el nuevo set, yo confío en que, a ver, no han anunciado aún, pero que el mundial de este nuevo set probablemente también sea presencial. O sea, hay cambios. También lo he dicho, esos son cambios oficiales a nivel de la gente que ha trabajado en el set 10. En el set 10 han trabajado el triple de personas de las que han trabajado en el set 9 directamente. Por lo tanto, habrá que jugarlo, pero cuando lo juguemos sabremos y se verá. Pero en teoría, la calidad del set 10 a nivel de bugs, a nivel de balanceo, a nivel de muchas cosas debería ser muy superior porque el equipo de trabajo se ha multiplicado. ¿Entendemos? Entonces ya veremos cómo será, pero no podéis decir que no ha cambiado nada, es lo mismo, bro. No, ha habido ya muchos cambios. O sea, ya que haya un evento presencial, ya es el primer evento presencial de la historia del competitivo de TFT. Eso ya de primeras. Y luego el tema de cómo va a ser el gameplay y tal, pues habrá que jugar, pero a priori debería ser muy superior porque han tenido el triple de gente trabajando de las que tenían en todos los anteriores sets.
Skins as well coming to TFT, really cool. The inspiration behind that, so I guess people are wondering like, I'm also a TFT and a League of Legends fan. Sorry to hear that you have to split your time a little bit more. So are some of these skins like, what are they going to do in terms of League of Legends as well?
So
Hombre,
yeah,
yo
for this
confío.
set we wanted to make our own skins.
Hay que llegar, tío. La verdad que molaría en el mundial que podáis castear conmigo ahí dentro porque...
But the reality is there were a couple cases like KDA for example where it's like, okay, who's going to be the tank? Well, none of these band members really make sense to be
A ver, es que le haría mucha más emoción, la verdad. Si no soy yo, bueno, pues si sois uno de vosotros está bien.
And we sort of showed that muscle. We also had a
Pero sí, un español, tío. Alguno que llegue. Es que aún ningún español ha llegado al mundial, Es
nothing
loco.
to announce today here, but if players are excited about it, you know, talk to people, let us know that you really like these skins. But again, it's just kind of showing that the TFT team is growing and all the cool things we can do now.
I actually have a reverse question to that because I have a friend who's very eager to get a Shaco Chibi. I'm just putting it out there if you want to make it happen.
Please, my mental.
Coming back though to returning mechanics, we already knew from previous leaks that the portals will be back. Are they going to be back in the same way or will they be different?
Yeah, so the big change to portals this time is there's still 3 portals, but they're downsized quite a bit. You're not going to see anything that's incredibly wild, right? You're not going to get 2 Tactician's Crowns. You're not going to see House Light Shield or anything like that. They're a lot more mellow, so it might be like 1 full item anvil, or it might be, hey, the last augment is guaranteed to be gold, or all silver. So they're a lot more subdued, but we really like the variation that they added. But we didn't want them to be the focus. So they're still there. They're still creating some cool things. Scuttle Puddle will still be around.
Okay.
And then the other news is that we're actually shipping with, around, I believe it's 25 portals, give or take.
Okay.
And then after the first 2 patches, we're actually going to add a few more to kind of just slowly ease into some of those really wild things. We don't want to start...
Básicamente, los portales, gente, por si algunos hablan inglés, aunque yo creo que la mayoría ya sabréis, siguen existiendo, pero son mucho más chill. O sea, las recompensas y los cambios de los portales van a ser mucho menos. Va a ser más rollo. Te damos un ítem, te damos un par de componentes, tienes 10 de oro extra. O sea, no va a ser una locura como otros portales de ahora, que hay portales que son muy potentes. Va a ser más portales todos tranquilitos, ¿sabes? O sea, no va a haber nada muy loco. A mí personalmente eso, bueno, no me parece mal, pero sí que a mí el tema de los portales es una mecánica que me gusta. Y una mecánica que yo, la verdad, la hubiese dejado. En general, tal cual estaba, cambiando algún portal, trayendo portales nuevos, pero creo que le da mucha varianza al juego. El que de golpe esté el Scuttle Puddle, el que de golpe esté el de Yumi incluso, que de golpe pues tienes que levear, o sea, creo que en general el tema de los portales, el que hayan playstyles distintos, como un poco parecido a lo que fue las Galaxias del set 3, para aquella gente que jugamos 100 partidas a la semana, creo que es muy positivo.
Además, de verdad. Struggled a little bit there with the two size units, but we've learned a lot since then, and who knows?
Es que imaginad todas las partidas sin portales.
But you know, the game keeps getting bigger and bigger, and so we don't want to necessarily get too insane. But there's always potential.
And a quick follow-up: Hero Augments is something I didn't bring up. Hero Augments and Headliner sounds like it's a really crazy combo. Is that making a comeback as well? Because some people did love the implementation of the Boss and Ravenous Hunter.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, I think those augments showed the potential of like that hero augment space, right? We don't want to necessarily do it to every champion, but a few champions is good. This set, there will not be those type of augments. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. We're just taking a break from it because, like you said, it does overlap pretty heavily with the headliner mechanic. And as Whitrock mentioned, the headliner mechanic, every champion has a different thing. So some of them just get like some extra AP or some extra AP. But some of them do have unique twists. As he mentioned, Bard has some interesting mechanics there with his meeps and things like that. So that gives us the room that if we find a space where we're like, oh, it'd be really cool if this tank did this cool thing, we can definitely do that. And so, as an example, maybe take a look on Mordekaiser if you get a chance to try. He's got a pretty interesting...
Los aumentos de héroe desaparecen, han dicho.
Vale.
Porque ya están los aumentos...
O sea, lo de los Chosen y eso es un problema. Porque si se combinan las dos es un poco raro.
Claro,
lo que han dicho es que si hay algún bicho que consideran que tiene una mecánica interesante o que se la podrían añadir, pues que igual se la meten al Chosen, ¿sabes?
Yeah, so we had that dev drop where we showed off an Alawi as an astral 5 cost, where she would slam her tentacles down, and it was pretty cool.
I remember that.
But what happened is during development, Astral had to shift to more of a reroll comp, and it didn't really make sense to have this 5-cost capstone on a comp that stays level 5 and level 6. So we ended up having to shift her down to 3. And so this was an opportunity to kind of revisit that. And Alawi is one of the people that gets her own unique skin, the Ill-Beat skin. She's got her own trait. Yeah, she's got her own skin, her own trait. She's a 5-cost with placeable tentacles, so you can figure out where you want those. They provide extra damage, and they work with her spell. She's a really flexible frontliner that also does a good amount of damage. So yeah, I'm kind of happy to finally bring her back as a 5-cost, as intended.
Okay, I do want to ask the million-dollar question on a lot of people's mind. We just had an esports tournament. I think a lot of people's concern is, look, TFT looks like it's scaling up on production value, but balance has been a pain point for some people. I've been vocal about it as well. I feel like I've complained about balance a fair amount this set. What is the philosophy going into set 10 to make sure, Rumble Remix, we know the facial name now. What's the philosophy going into Rumble Remix where we feel like this actually is going to be addressed?
Yeah, so I think, you know, with the Horizon Bound in particular, we saw a lot of balance pain points, and I'm not going to hide that, but that kind of shows the difficulty in development we've been dealing with all this time, right? Mid-sets, we have about 2.5 months to put it together. That's not much time to get everything right. Whereas now that we're shifting to this 3 sets a year model, we've had a lot of time to sort of really iron out the kinks, really go from there. And then there's some other changes behind the scenes we're making as well to really make sure the balance is going to be in a good spot. But right now, that fact that we have that longer development time, teams are already working on, you know, the set after this, the set after that. You know, I think we're going to be a lot more confident here. And so hopefully we can, you know, put our money where our mouth is here. We definitely hear the pain, but like I said, we're feeling really good about this. We've had a lot of time, so keep us honest, though.
You said put your money where your mouth is. I heard that you wagered
I did.
$500 for no B patches for set 10. Is that correct?
For at least for the first few months, yes.
Es imposible.
Oh my God.
Because I really do believe in the team.
Nunca digas
I've been
nunca.
part of the playtest.
Okay.
I've seen the playtest.
Es imposible y nos vamos a comer algún parche de mierda para que este cabrón no se gaste los 500 pavos que ha prometido. Ya veréis.
O sea, de hecho ha dicho que a partir del segundo mes.
Ironing that out. And so I've never seen us have this much time before. We still have PBE as well. So honestly, I'm feeling pretty good. Not 100%, but I think this kind of shows.
Apuéstate 10.000 pavos entonces, cabrón.
Again, put my money where my mouth is.
No 500.
Awesome. Now, we also heard, finally, tablet support is coming. I've been tagged in oh so many at TFT Twitter threads where people just randomly ask for tablet supports on talent announcements. I know people are craving this. It's finally here, and it's coming to APAC as well with mobile support. Does that mean set 10 is the first really global launch?
Yeah, I mean, this is something we've been heading up for a while, and set 10 felt like the right time. You know, it's our 10th set, and the team's been working really hard. We know mobile, you know, didn't necessarily ship in like the most finalized state here. And so, yeah, we've got, you know, APAC's going to be able to play it. We've got tablet support, and it's not just like the scaled up version. It actually looks really nice on some great tablets.
Nice.
It supports all the different resolutions that can scale around. So that's really awesome. And the other thing to talk about is the fact that even though we're going to ship this, we're not done. Like, this isn't like, cool, we're done with mobile, hands off. No, the team is actually already working on what's next for that, because we do want mobile to not be this sort of second-class citizen. We want to really
es muy importante
give it all the
que
attention it deserves to kind of put it on par
la
with
gente
PC.
juega saco en el móvil
Let us
de
know
TFT.
as you play the mobile version and you
Tiene
play
que
the tablet
convertirse
version.
para que
Let
el
us know
TFT
what
de
you think,
verdad
and
lo
we will
rompa.
keep iterating on that. This isn't,
Necesitan que pase como en China. Que haya más gente casi jugando en el móvil que en el PC.
Yeah.
Pero la diferencia,
time
tío,
for the tablet players to rise up, and then all of a sudden,
China,
no
móvil,
one's playing on the
o
same
sea,
devices by the end of
el
it.
DPT del móvil
I went a little bit hard on you, so I kind of want to
anuncios
ease up a
del
little bit.
competitivo,
Let's say,
cosas que aquí
you
no
know,
tiene,
set 10
¿sabes? Aquí
PBE
el
is
móvil
dropping
es
very
muy
soon,
bueno.
actually just in a couple of days. What's the first
Es
couple
simple,
of things you
cómpiala.
recommend for us to
Es
try
que de
out?
hecho
Because there's
podrían,
so much, it's going to be
literalmente puedes copiar la API y tener la misma puta app y traducirla. O sea, si no lo hacen es porque no les sale de la polla.
Starting on this
O porque no pagan
two
por
big
ella.
traits I recommend. The first one is country. Country plays around Samira and Urgot, who are 3 costs. It's the summoning trait. It provides that Hecarim. It's got that extra power. And so it's a relatively easier comp to play. You can play around those champions based on what items you hit. It's a really good early start, I think. The other one is going to be KDA. KDA is a really simple vertical. You know, if you're really optimizing it, you don't necessarily play 7, but it is an easy thing to build. Play around that Ahri. Ahri is going to be that 4-cost carry that provides a lot of single target damage. Pretty easy to play. And then the other thing to note is if you're playing KDA, you might hit that chase trait. There's a 10 KDA if you can hit it. And without the augments to help that, it's going to be pretty hard to hit. But again, with these prismatic traits, we want them to be powerful if you hit them, and a lot rarer than they were in Runeterra Reforged.
All right, it's kind of like that song. I'm a little bit country, and I'm a little bit ADA. So.
Well, yeah. I was thinking of Meowdy, but you took that one right from me. But coming to like the bigger picture, the next big event that's coming up is, of course, I'll try really hard to call it by the correct name, the Vegas Open on the 8th of December. What can we expect from that event?
Yeah, so there's going to be a really cool competition, 512 players competing for a big prize pool in a pretty accelerated format. But again, kind of a chance to play in person with a live audience. If you're going there, there's also going to be panels with devs, meet the devs, things like that. There's a bunch of cool stuff planned here. I can't spoil all the surprises, but honestly, it's going to be worth your time if you can be there. And if not, definitely tune in. There should be some really unique aspects of the broadcast that will feel, I think, a little different than these championships. Maybe a little more, I don't know, friendly. Something just a little more lighthearted, and the fact that everyone.
Tengo ganas del set 10, la verdad. Este miércoles sale en el PvE y 2 semanas más tarde sale en el live. Las ranked salen el día 23 más o menos. Y el set 10, pues eso, en el PvE este miércoles.
There's more news coming on the front of Remix Rumble now that it's finally out, and we hope you tune in on the 8th of December for the Vegas Open, and you check out Remix Rumble on the PvE and when it launches. Thank you so much for watching.
Claro,
and
que esas cosas.
See you guys again the next time, hopefully.
See you in Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Vale, ahora sí, se acabó. Tenemos toda la info del set 10. ¡Buah! Tremendo baile, ¡buah! Espectacular.
Está casi igual que los personajes del juego.
Ok. Bueno, pues se vienen cositas, tío. La verdad que yo estoy ilusionado con el set 10, Creo que puede